Men over 60, listen carefully. The very fruits you think are keeping you healthy might actually be destroying your testosterone. These aren't exotic or rare fruits. They're the ones sitting in your kitchen right now, the ones you've been told for years are good for you. But the truth is, some of them quietly drain the hormone that gives you strength, energy, and drive. Low testosterone doesn't just mean less muscle or less confidence. It affects how you move, how you think, even how you feel in your own skin. And every morning, countless men over 60 are unknowingly making the problem worse with just one bite of the wrong fruit. So today, I'll show you exactly which fruits you need to avoid, starting with one that's been a breakfast staple for decades, but maybe sabotaging your hormones more than you realize. I've seen it again and again. Men who thought their fading energy, weaker muscles, and slipping confidence were simply the price of getting older. They accepted it as part of life, never realizing the real issue was sitting right in front of them at the breakfast table. The truth is, your body isn't built to just give up on testosterone. Even past 60, it still wants to keep that hormone strong. It wants you to have drive, focus, energy, and vitality. But when you constantly give it the wrong foods, you're sending signals that shut testosterone down faster than nature ever intended. And this is where most men make the same mistake. They look for answers in pills and prescriptions and complicated routines when the real solution starts with something as simple as choosing the right foods and avoiding the wrong ones. The foods that quietly drag your testosterone lower and lower aren't exotic, they aren't hidden, they're not even things you'd expect. They're everyday items, fruits you probably have in your kitchen right now, fruits you've been told for years were healthy. Yet, when you look closer, you see the damage they cause, how they speed up the very problems you thought were just normal aging. And that's what I want to open your eyes to today. Because once you know the truth, once you see how these so-called healthy choices are working against you, you can finally stop feeding the problem and start rebuilding your strength naturally. You'll be surprised at how quickly your body responds when you stop giving it the wrong signals and start fueling it the way it's designed to be fueled. Now let's talk about the first fruit. It's something so many men over 60 slice open in the morning without a second thought. It looks light, refreshing, almost like the perfect start to the day. But inside, it carries a hidden effect that quietly drains testosterone and leaves you weaker with every serving. The first fruit we need to talk about is grapefruit. At first glance, it looks harmless, even healthy. Bright, refreshing, a little tart. For decades, men have believed it was the perfect choice to control weight, keep digestion light, and start the day on the right foot. It almost has this clean reputation, like it's doing something good for you simply because it's not heavy or greasy. But behind that refreshing taste hides a problem most men have never been warned about. What grapefruit really does is interfere with your hormones. Inside this fruit are compounds that speed up the breakdown of testosterone in your liver. Normally, your testosterone should be circulating in your blood, supporting your muscles, your strength, your energy, and your confidence. But when grapefruit steps in, it pushes your liver to clear that testosterone out faster than your body can use it. So instead of supporting you, it quietly robs you. At first, you don't notice. You might just feel a little weaker in the gym, a little slower getting out of bed, a little less drive in the evenings. But over the months and years, the damage builds. Your testosterone levels sink lower and lower, and you're left wondering why you feel older than you really are. I remember John, a man of 66 who came to me frustrated. He thought he was doing everything right. Every morning for years, he'd cut a grapefruit in half, sprinkle a little sugar, and eat it with his coffee. He swore it was helping him stay lean. But while his waistline wasn't terrible, something else was happening. His muscles felt softer, his energy lagged, and the spark he used to feel just wasn't there anymore. He blamed it all on age, convinced this was just what life after 60 looked like. But when we checked, his testosterone was far below where it should have been. And the culprit? That morning grapefruit. Once he stopped eating it and switched to more hormone-friendly foods, the change was dramatic. Within weeks, his energy returned. He felt lighter on his feet, stronger in his workouts, and even said his confidence came back in ways he didn't expect. The only real change was removing something he thought was healthy, but in reality, it was slowly draining his testosterone day after day. And John isn't alone. This story repeats itself with countless men who unknowingly make the same choice. Grapefruit looks like a safe option, but in truth it's one of the fastest ways to sabotage the very hormone that keeps you feeling like yourself. The second fruit that quietly sabotages testosterone is dried fruit, things like raisins, dates, and even those packaged mixes of healthy, dried snacks that so many men keep in the pantry. On the surface, they seem like a smart choice. You look at a cookie and think, no, that's junk, so instead you grab a handful of raisins or a couple of dates. It feels lighter, more natural, even virtuous. But the truth is, these foods are loaded with one thing your body doesn't need more of: concentrated sugar. When fruit is dried, all the water disappears, but the sugar stays behind in a more concentrated form. A single handful of raisins can contain as much sugar as a can of soda, but because it looks like just a small snack, most men never think twice. The problem is that sugar doesn't just affect your waistline. It creates chaos inside your hormones. Every time you eat a high-sugar food, your insulin spikes. And insulin is directly tied to testosterone. The higher the insulin, the faster testosterone falls. It's like flipping a switch that shuts down your body's ability to keep this vital hormone active. Over time, this constant cycle leaves men with more belly fat, less muscle, and less drive. You may notice your workouts feel harder, your energy dips after meals, and your motivation slowly fades. It's not that your body has stopped working, it's that sugar is forcing your hormones into imbalance. And with dried fruits, it sneaks up on you because you don't see them as candy. You see them as healthy. That's the trick. I remember Martin, 63, who thought he was making the smart choice. He told me proudly that he'd cut cookies out of his diet and replaced them with raisins. At first, he believed he was doing his body a favor. But months later, he couldn't understand why he felt even more sluggish. His belly kept growing, his muscles felt soft, and his strength at the gym flatlined. He thought maybe it was just age catching up to him. But when we looked at his habits, the truth was obvious. He was feeding his body massive amounts of sugar disguised as fruit. When Martin finally cut back on dried fruits and swapped them for protein-rich snacks, a handful of nuts, some Greek yogurt, even a boiled egg, the difference was night and day. Within weeks, his energy lifted, his belly stopped growing, and his workouts started to feel productive again. He realized the very food he thought was protecting him was actually dragging him down. This is the danger of dried fruits. They hide behind a healthy image, but in reality, they trigger the same hormonal crash as candy or soda. And for men over 60, whose testosterone is already more vulnerable, that crash is even more costly. One small handful a day can be enough to drain the very hormone that gives you your strength, your energy, and your vitality. The third fruit that men over 60 should be careful with is papaya. At first, it looks completely harmless, bright, tropical, soft, and sweet, almost like a symbol of health. Many men add it to smoothies or fruit bowls, thinking they're making a clean, nourishing choice. But beneath that sweet taste lies something that most people don't realize. Papaya carries compounds that act very differently inside a man's body. Unlike dried fruits, where the danger comes from sugar, papaya's problem is its hormonal effect. It contains natural substances that behave a little like plant-based estrogens. And that's where the trouble begins. Testosterone and estrogen are always in a delicate balance in the body. When one goes up, the other goes down. For women, that balance looks one way, but for men, testosterone needs to stay dominant. When foods like papaya introduce estrogen-like compounds, they tilt the scale in the wrong direction. Testosterone drops, muscle strength declines, and energy fades. Over time, the effect can be subtle but powerful. Men often don't connect the dots at first. They just notice their stamina is slipping, workouts feel harder, and their recovery is slower. Confidence dips. Intimacy doesn't feel the same. And because papaya has such a healthy image, it never crosses their mind that this tropical fruit could be part of the problem. I remember Harold, 68, who had gotten into the habit of blending papaya into his morning smoothies almost every day. He thought he was fueling his body with something natural and energizing. But what he actually felt was the opposite. He was tired more often, his strength in the gym kept declining, and the spark he once had in his private life wasn't the same. He told me he felt like someone had turned the dimmer switch down on his entire body. When Harold finally cut out the papaya and replaced it with fruits that actually support testosterone, like pomegranate or berries, the difference was remarkable. Within weeks, he said it was as if someone had turned the lights back on. His energy rose, his confidence grew, and he even said he felt more present and alive in ways he hadn't in years. That's the danger with papaya. It doesn't attack your body like sugar, and it doesn't feel heavy like junk food. Instead, it quietly shifts your hormones in the wrong direction, lowering the very thing that keeps men feeling strong and vital. It tricks you with its healthy appearance, but in reality, it robs you of testosterone little by little, day after day. Now that you know the truth about grapefruit, dried fruits, and papaya, the question is simple: what should you eat instead? Because the answer isn't to give up fruit altogether. Your body still needs the right nutrients, the kind that fuel testosterone, protect your circulation, and keep your energy strong. The key is knowing which fruits actually work with your hormones instead of against them. And here's the good news. Those fruits are just as easy to find, just as affordable, and in many cases taste even better. One of the most powerful is pomegranate. This deep red fruit has been used for centuries as a symbol of vitality, and modern science explains why. It's packed with polyphenol that directly improve blood flow and support the production of nitric oxide, a compound your body needs to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and yes, testosterone, to the areas that matter most. Men who add pomegranate juice or a handful of seeds to their morning routine often notice warmer circulation, better stamina, and a lift in their overall energy within weeks. Another great option is berries. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, all of them are low in sugar, but high in antioxidants that protect testosterone from breaking down. They don't spike your insulin the way dried fruits do. Instead, they keep your blood vessels flexible and your hormones balanced. That means better recovery after exercise, clearer focus during the day, and more drive when it matters. And then there's avocado. Some men think of it as just a fancy topping for toast, but in reality, it's loaded with the healthy fats your body needs to produce testosterone in the first place. Testosterone is a fat-based hormone, which means without the right fats, your body can't make enough of it. Avocado provides those building blocks in a natural way, along with potassium and vitamins that keep your blood vessels strong. Adding even half an avocado to your breakfast can make a real difference in how you feel throughout the day. When men make the simple shift, removing the fruits that drain testosterone and replacing them with the ones that build it up, the results are powerful. Energy comes back, confidence grows, workouts feel easier, and even daily life feels more alive. It's not about chasing some magic pill or secret supplement. It's about giving your body what it's been asking for all along, the right fuel. So if you've been feeling slower, heavier, or weaker than you used to, don't just accept it as aging. Look at your plate. Ask yourself if you're eating the fruits that are hurting you or the ones that are helping you. 6 months from now, you could either still feel drained, or you could feel stronger, more confident, and more like yourself again. The choice is in your hands, and it starts with what you eat tomorrow morning. So here's the bottom line. The wrong fruits can quietly drain your testosterone, leaving you weaker, more tired, and less confident than you deserve to be. But the right fruits can do the opposite. They can fuel your hormones, restore your circulation, and help you feel alive again, no matter your age. If this message spoke to you, I want you to do 2 things right now. First, drop a 1 in the comments if you found this helpful, or a 0 if you didn't. I read every response, and your feedback means a lot. Second, make sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell, because I share tips like this every week, simple, natural ways for men over 60 to protect their health, boost their energy, and stay strong. Remember, age is not the enemy. The real enemy is ignoring your body's signals and fueling it with the wrong foods. The power to change is in your hands. One better choice tomorrow morning can lead to one better week, one better month, and before long, one better life. Don't wait for someday. Start now.